Welcome to Preservation Oaks, the podcast where we invite you to step away from the bustle of everyday life. Settle in and relax, and take a moment to leave the familiar behind as we explore the hidden gems of America that preserve our cultural past. We call them our Preservation Oaks, and with each episode, we'll journey to a different corner of the country, where we'll discover the unique histories, landscapes, and communities that make up our nation. We'll visit with local museums, historical and genealogical societies. They are the stewards of these stories. They preserve the legacy of each place like precious pieces of fabric in a quilt that binds the freedom-loving, hardworking people in this country together. So, slow down, grab a beverage, open your mind, and let us take you on a tour of the fascinating histories and heartfelt traditions that lie just beyond the horizon. This is Preservation Oaks, where every story is a stitch in the fabric of our shared culture. Now, join our host, Sean Radcliff, as he uncovers another thread in the tapestry of America's heritage and what it takes to preserve it.
Good day, everyone. Thanks for being here. We have a great program for you today. For this episode, we're shining a spotlight on an absolutely perfect Colorado gem as we welcome Ms. Heather Brophy, director of the Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center in Creede, Colorado. Creede may be small, home to just about 257 residents as of the 2020 census, but it's the only incorporated town in Mineral County and serves as the county seat. What makes this place truly extraordinary is that its community center and mining museum are built entirely underground, yet open year-round. As we begin this episode, I encourage listeners to go to their favorite map app and dial in Creede Colorado. That's Creede, Colorado. Look around the town in street view, and especially look at the mountain walls of the canyon that Creede sits in. They're epic. This remarkable venue isn't just a museum. With around 10,000 square feet of floor space, a large commercial kitchen, fully stocked bar, modern bathrooms, and plenty of room for hundreds of guests, it's a one-of-a-kind setting for meetings, weddings, reunions, parties, dances, and so much more. And here's a fun fact. Even though the facility itself is carved into the mountain, it still sits 8,852 feet above sea level. By the end of this episode, you'll see why this underground mining museum and community center are so special. Their mission is to bring people together from all walks of life through educational experiences that celebrate Creede's mining past and through social gatherings that build a vibrant present. They honor the generations who came before and inspire those who are shaping the future. Hey, by the way, our main platform is preservationoaks.podbean.com, but you can find us on nearly all podcast platforms as well as Rumble, Getter, Minds, TikTok, Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. So wherever you listen to the program, I appreciate it very much when you like, comment, follow, or subscribe. If you're interested in being a guest on our program, or if you have questions or comments, please feel free to email us at preservationoaks@gmail.com. Hey, I want to do a big shout out to all of you who've been spreading the word about our program. Your support means the world to us. By helping us reach more people, you're shining a spotlight on the incredible heroes of Preservation Oaks and giving them the recognition they truly deserve. Thank you for being awesome. So spread the word, support your local historical or genealogical society or museum, and together we can make sure our rich heritage is preserved for generations to come. Thank you for being a part of this amazing journey. This recent and relevant news coming out of Colorado. Underway now, Colorado is officially joining the National Commemoration of America 250, the 250th anniversary of the founding of the United States. At the very same time, the state is celebrating its own sesquicentennial, which is 150 years since Colorado achieved statehood. Together, this America 250 Colorado 150 observance will run through December of 2026. Under the guidance of History Colorado, communities across the state will host events, educational programs with commemorations that invite Coloradans to reflect on their past and look forward to their future. One example of how this milestone will come to life is at the Summit Historical Society, which has announced an extended lineup of programming through 2026. They're planning hikes, lectures, and special events designed to highlight the unique heritage of Summit County, while also connecting it to the broader Colorado and American stories. This is a model for how local historical societies can make these awesome anniversaries personal, engaging, and community-centered. You can find more information at summithistorical.org. And that raises an interesting question for Creede. With Mineral County's rich mining heritage and unique underground museum, how might the community tap into the energy of these statewide and nationwide celebrations? By honoring the past and inviting the next generation into the story, Creede has the opportunity to shine very brightly during this historic season. As Colorado and the nation step into this era of remembrance and reflection, please keep an eye out for ways your own community and places like Creede can join in. It's history in the making, and it's a chance for all of us to be part of the story. Hey, if you're a regular listener to Preservation Oaks, you already know that we're always exploring, listening, and learning. Our next episode takes us into unexpected territory with observations from orbit, Thanksgiving Declassified. In this special presentation, we'll share an intercepted message from space, one that just might change how you look at the holiday season. Be sure to catch it beginning November 17th, wherever you get your favorite podcast groove on. Hey, our guest today is Heather Brophy, director of the Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center. A proud Creede native and graduate of Creede middle and high schools, Heather went on to study theater arts at SUNY New Paltz, New York, where she excelled academically and even served in student government. Heather brings an educated energy to her role. She's already become a passionate steward of Creede's mining legacy. She grew up fascinated by how mining shaped her hometown, a place where silver once made Creede famous, and where the echoes of that industry still resonate today. From guiding visitors through the museum's tunnels lined with historic mining exhibits to sharing stories of the men who worked with hand drills, widowmakers, and mechanized equipment, Heather sees herself as the keeper of a legacy that for Creede largely ended decades ago. Yet, in her words, mining is in our roots. Without mining, this place would have never existed. As director, she not only safeguards the stories of the past, but also helps connect the museum to Creede's present, a community that now thrives on arts, theater, and outdoor tourism. With her leadership, the Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center continues to serve as both a cultural anchor and a truly unique gathering space. All right. Welcome to the program, Heather.
Thank you, Sean, and thanks for being here.
Hey, I read the Mining Museum and Community Center were carved out of rock by local miners beginning around 1990. What stories have you heard about that process?
Well, I'm glad you asked. So, first, this idea started when the old fire station burned down, and the crazy old miners decided to build the fire station into the side of the mountain. While they were building that, the engineer convinced all of his buddies that an underground mining museum and community center were not only necessary, but integral to preserving their history and making sure more people could learn about what happened here. So back in the 60s, we started a repertory theater here in an effort to begin transitioning back to a tourist economy from mining economy. And during that time, we gained some local legends, one of which, Christy Brandt, has been coming here for over 50 years now. But back in the 90s, she was walking up the canyon, as she does almost every morning all summer long to this day. And the miners said, "Hey, Christy, we're about to blast. Do you want to do a blast?" So she said, "Oh, yeah, sure. That sounds fun." Now, mind you, they're using dynamite in blasts that were so big that the business's windows downtown were rattling. And no one told her to cover her ears because they all thought it was funny. So she hit that blast. Everybody hides on the other side of the street. That boom goes off, and she's standing there, ears ringing, looking around like, what the heck just happened? And all the miners are standing around laughing at her.
Oh, my goodness.
So that's kind of the, feeling of the miners. That's who they were. That's what they did. That was their everyday, normal happenstance. Let's pull a prank on someone who doesn't know any better.
Yep, good guys, huh?
Most of the time.
Now, I understand that Creede was a boom town in the late 1800s after silver was discovered in Willow Creek Canyon around 1889. How much of Creede's identity do you think still reflects its mining heritage?
Without the mining, Creede as we know it wouldn't be here. Before mining, there was a stagecoach route that came up the upper Rio Grande River Valley over to Animas Forks from Del Norte. And it was during that time and during the second major gold rush in American history that Nicholas Creede came up the stagecoach route with his donkey, and his donkey ran away, and he ended up chasing it down. Well, Nicholas Creede, being the first prospector to really prospect in this area, that's a huge part of our identity. I mean, it's our name. It's what you see first and hear first when talking about this area is Creede, the only town in Mineral County and the county seat. And it was remote then. It's still remote now, even though it's connected by a highway. It's a lot easier access. There's still a lot of things that you have to work to make work in order to live here. And, the energy of those original prospectors and the original miners and the gamblers and brothel owners and saloon owners that made this place their home and really made it boom, their legend is carried out today in every single one of us as we make our life in this impossible place because we love it here.
It's an amazing place. I was thinking about that yesterday, and I was thinking Mineral County, I want to say 100 miles from Denver. Is that correct?
I think it's a little bit more than that. We're about a 5-hour drive.
Okay. I'm trying to think of your tourist season, right?
Our tourist season really runs from Memorial Day through Labor Day, with its peak being the 4th of July. So we are a town of about 250. Within the county, there's 1 to 2,000, and that's year-round residents. On the 4th of July last summer, we got cell phone data back, and within Mineral County, we had over 38,000 cell phones pinged to our tower. So we have a huge influx of people, specifically around the 4th of July, but through the entire summer season as kids are off of school and people are traveling, getting out of the summer heat in a lot of places. They'll come up here because it's nice. And, we don't usually hit 90 for our peak summer heat. And we don't have a ton of days where it does hit that heat threshold. So it's pretty nice up here. Families have been coming up here for generations. And so they bring their kids, their grandkids, and that just continues on. And that's a majority of the tourists we see here are generational tourists that have been coming up here since they can remember. And now they bring their kids up and they bring their grandkids up. It's really wonderful to see.
Yeah, I keep forgetting you're up high and it's cooler.
Yeah, almost 9,000 feet above sea level.
Yeah, it's amazing. Wow. When visiting the Underground Mining Museum, which is an amazing place, how far underground is it? And do visitors actually feel a temperature drop or a change in atmosphere as they descend underground into it?
So it can be a little deceiving. You enter on ground level at the bottom of a canyon. And so as you walk in, you're actually entering into the mountain. The mountain rises a couple 100 feet above us at any given point in the museum. And so you're not going to really feel any sort of descent into the mountain. But as you enter into the gift shop, especially on a hot summer day, you really feel the difference. This time of year, as we move into the winter, it's actually a little bit warmer inside than outside. But on any given day throughout the summer, we offer coats to our visitors because it is a damp 50 degrees. You can almost guarantee it every single day. And our humidity fluctuates between about 70 and 90%.
Oh, wow. That's very interesting. I'll bet that's really nice having events in there in your 10,000 square foot community center.
It is really wonderful. There's a lot of events through the summertime that I won't even turn the heat on for, even though I normally do, because it just acts as a natural air conditioning.
Yeah, really cool. Now, you mentioned that Creede has a small population of about 250 or so, and it's the only incorporated town in Mineral County, which I find fascinating. And you were telling me earlier that there's another county also in Colorado that only has one town, and it's also the county seat. How do you think that scale influences community life there?
Well, when there's only so many people to pick from, everyone wears multiple hats. You just have to. And because of that, you really have to learn how to work with your neighbors, whether you agree with their politics, their religion, their beliefs and morals and ideals. You have to find a way to work together. And that's what a true community does. We don't ostracize people for being different from us. We embrace our differences and work together for the common good. And we see that all the time. Anytime there is a death in the community, last year we had a fire, which was the first structure fire that I can remember actually burning down an entire building. It was a house, and it was a very freak accident. There's a lot of mystery involved in that fire. But the couple who lived in that house, they were rescued by our local volunteer fire department and EMTs. They had fundraisers while they were in hospital care in the ICU getting treatment for all the smoke inhalation. We were here in Creede, our Elks Lodge, our Ladies Aid organization, were putting on fundraisers to help raise money for all of their medical bills that we knew they'd be accruing, help getting them new furniture, new clothes, everything that the insurance isn't going to cover. How are we going to, together as a community, help them get all of their belongings back and rebuild their life? When they got out of the hospital and came back to Creede, Ladies Aid had a house for them to stay in until their new one was completed. We had people helping to bring them meals, and that's not the anomaly. That is the norm. Anytime there's a major event, the community comes together, bands together, and helps out our neighbors. Whether you like them, whether you agree with them, you do it.
I think Nicholas Creede and the generation of miners there in Creede would be very proud of all of you for doing that.
Yes. And, it's why we do it. We have to work together or we won't be here.
Right. I wonder if those early miners saw the town as sort of a temporary thing. They were coming in, they were mining, they were making their money, and they were getting out and going somewhere, or whether they said, you know what, this is where we want to be. We're making this a town. What do you think?
I think there was about 6 of one and half a dozen of the other included in the mix. There were plenty of guys who were here just for the payout. There were tent saloons and these little mining shacks that were definitely not made to sustain life for very long, that were popped up all over the place. And in those early days, especially, it's a narrow canyon. We've got a creek running right down the middle of it. And all those old wooden houses, they were new at the time, but those wooden houses were popped up together, real close quarters. They used a wood stove. They had this creek, and it flooded or burned down almost every single year for a number of years before they finally relocated the entire town down into the more open spot of the canyon and built with bricks, which at the time they believed to be fireproof. We've proved that incorrect, but definitely more fireproof than that rough cut timber that they had been building most of the downtown area with previously in both Creede and Stringtown. And now what is now Creede was once Jimtown and has our historic Main Street, and that was built in 1892, 1893, and has, historical markers all around. The Creede Hotel, which is an original building, along with a number of others down our main street.
Amazing. Does the museum have any involvement with the historical markers?
We don't. Those are mostly maintained by the Historical Society, which runs another museum downtown in the historical railroad depot.
Yeah, right. Okay. I want to ask, what are some intriguing historical anecdotes from Mineral County or Creede that showcase its unique identity?
So Creede is the county seat, but when it became the county seat, it was not the only town in Mineral County. In fact, there were a number of towns, but the next biggest one, and they were probably comparable in size, Wasson Ranch, which is now a privately owned guest ranch, they were also vying for the county seat. Now, Creede, all the townspeople of Creede told the townspeople of Wasson, well, we're going to get the county seat because we have all the founding documents for the county in our courthouse. So the people of Wasson Ranch came up to Creede and broke into the courthouse, stole the documents, and brought them back to Wasson and put them in their courthouse. Well, now we have the founding documents, so what are you going to do about it? And the townspeople of Creede got together, took a bunch of logs down to Wasson Ranch, because that's how you moved things back in the day. And they brought the whole courthouse back up to Creede and said, what are you going to do about it?
Oh, my God.
And Creede is the county seat.
That is a good story. That is great. Wonderful.
So, a lot of determination and a little bit of fun.
Yep. Fantastic people. Now, Heather, there are museums about mining, but your museum in large part is the mine. Can you describe the experience of walking 600 feet into a space blasted out of solid rock, and how the geology, specifically the ancient fish canyon tuff, makes the very walls of the museum a historical exhibit?
Yeah, so first and foremost, the Fisher Canyon tuft was created by the La Garita volcano. The La Garita supervolcano was part of the San Juan volcanic chain, and it is home to the largest eruption measured in Earth's history. It was about 28 million years ago. It erupted a number of times, but with that one being the top in recorded geological events. So with that, Creede is located inside of the La Garita. So once you go into the mountain walls, you are in the volcano. So guests are not only experiencing the mining history of this area, but also the geological history. And we do try to pay homage to that as much as we can with our rock specimen room. On our live guided tour, we do delve into the history of the La Garita, the why the silver is here, not just why we're here, but the greater history that is at play here. In addition to that, the miners mined out this space, with a lot of forethought involved. Forethought that you wouldn't necessarily expect out of a bunch of rugged tradesmen in the 90s, in the 80s and 90s. They made sure that the entire facility was wheelchair accessible. They paved it all the way around, and they created these authentic displays with equipment donated from mining families, mining companies, and the miners themselves to, really paint a picture of what happened, what was mining like in 1890 versus what was mining like in 1985. And we really cover that whole scope of mining to show, the evolution and also the history and the hard work that was put into these hills, to make the microchips in your cell phones and your computers, help your car run, make your solar panels and surgical implements, all the things that heavy metals are used for.
Yeah, very cool. I was reading that you guys primarily mined silver. Is that true?
Yes. Silver was our number one producer, followed closely by lead, zinc, and copper. We had some trace amounts of gold. So in the 100 years of hard rock mining history, there was about $200 million worth of silver and $5 million worth of gold. I don't have numbers for the other secondary producers, but I know lead production ramped up during World War II and then fell back down. Silver kind of became a little bit more stable going into the 60s and then kind of fell again before the second major crash in 1985. Yeah, in those early days of mining between 1889 and 1893, with the first major American silver crash, they pulled $1 million worth of ore a month and shipped it to Denver to be processed.
Whoa.
which in the 1890s was a lot of rock.
And that's why we have the Denver Mint, right? Because we had silver there.
Yes. Cripple Creek is home to some still active gold mines, Cripple Creek and Victor, Colorado. And then there are a lot of silver mining camps all around the state, as well as lead.
Wow.
And that lead comes to play because we have a lot of galena deposits, and a lot of our silver, it's either native silver or it's silver sulfide. So galena and silver sulfide are two sides of the same spectrum in a way. Silver sulfide is predominantly silver with some lead included in it.
Okay.
Galena is predominantly lead with some silver included in it. So you will, produce both by mining either. It's just the quantities of each that you're getting out. And then with the silver sulfide, you often find, especially in the Creede area, these huge veins of native silver, which means that the metal is occurring in its most natural form. So it's 99.9% pure as you're pulling it out of the mountain.
Wow. And I know you try to educate people as well. When they come to the mining museum, they see some form of geology or mineral exhibits, and you have some kind of an event every year for geology and mining?
Yes. The Creede Mineral County Chamber of Commerce hosts a rock and mineral show every year, the first weekend of August, here in the museum, mostly in the community center, our event space, and all outside underneath our awning. And with that, they provide 2 geology talks, one on Friday night and one on Saturday night. One of our local geologists, who is a volcanologist, I think I'm getting that term correct. She studies volcanoes.
Okay.
She does a talk on the La Garita and the San Juan volcanic range every year. And then we used to have a gentleman who would do a localized Creede geology talk, but he has retired, and they've done a couple of different programs the past couple of years to replace his talks.
Wow. I was reading around 1985, the mines started to play out, or something happened and they started closing down the mines. And about that point, local miners started building the community center and the mining museum, and that was around 1990. Was the project viewed as a memorial to a dying industry or a defiant declaration that Creede's mining spirit would survive through preservation?
I think it was a little bit of both. They wanted to honor all the generations who came before them, but they also wanted to ensure that this history was preserved for as long as we could. And I think that they've done a really wonderful job of making that happen. And I am honored to continue on their legacy and continue upgrading this museum to bring it into the future and continue to make it relevant to, the newer generations.
Well, from everything I've seen, you're doing a great job, let me tell you. And it's so unique a place. It's just an amazing place. Hey, did you personally know the miners who dug the underground community center and museum?
I do. I didn't know them at the time because I wasn't born yet, but I do know them now.
Right.
Some of them are pretty good friends of mine. Some of them are neighbors. The fire chief, who has been the fire chief for a couple of decades, he was one of the guys who helped build it. The 3 main laborers, it was Robert Hasselkuss, Chuck Fairchild, and Tom Payne.
Okay.
And Tom Payne's daughter is actually one of the top members of the Historical Society here. She has written a number of books, including Haunted Creede, which is a super fun read. And she has also done a number of historical talks on different topics in Creede's history.
Very cool. That's got to be so cool, knowing those folks, getting to know them. Well, you've also probably become kind of an expert on mining. I was reading about some of the aspects of mining because I don't know anything about mining, but I was reading about stoping and blasting and mucking and so on, and how dangerous things are. For a listener who's never been underground, which of the museum's displays best illustrates the sheer physical danger and difficulty of daily life for a miner in Creede?
I think it's the museum as a whole that really demonstrates the danger and the various safety upgrades throughout the years, because we do start in that 1890 era of hand drilling and work our way into the pneumatics, the original Widowmakers, which were pneumatics without hydraulics. So they were dry drilling into this silica-rich rhyolite, tuft rhyolite, which is like granite, but it forms on the surface and has much smaller crystals. And so that silica dust was going out into the air and was causing what is known as miner's lung. And it was the cause of a lot of death when pneumatics were first introduced into mining. So watching all of their friends die, the miners, and this is across mining, not just here in Creede, but they came up with ways to dampen the death. So one of the first things they did, if you look at all the old pictures of miners, most of them have big, fluffy beards, big, long, fluffy beards. And they would dampen down their beards and stuff those up into their mouth and then cover their face, tie their beard up with a wet handkerchief to help eliminate as much of that dust as they could from getting into their mouth. And that did help somewhat, but introducing water into the pneumatics was really what helped move that technology forward. So instead of producing a bunch of dry dust, now they've got water there, so it's dampening down that dust as it's being created, and the entire environment becomes a lot less dangerous and a lot less toxic. And so you walk through, the updates through this, technology that is in essence still very similar to what they were doing in 1890, drilling holes, putting in explosives, blasting it, mucking it out, taking it out of the mine, rinse and repeat. So how do we do it better? How do we do it faster? How do we do it safer? And our entire museum, as you walk through, is designed to be an experience where you really get the feel of what it was like underground.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going to get to next. I was thinking about a museum above ground versus a museum underground. Your museum was carved out of the rock by the miners using those construction techniques. Do you think that makes the museum a more authentic educational tool than a museum built above ground?
I think that it adds to the experience in a way that a museum above ground just doesn't have the capacity to without some serious architectural design. I think that the thoughts here that the original county laborers had when they started building this place was, how do we really get that point across? And they created what is now known as an augmented reality tour. So you're not just walking through, looking at pictures, reading, placards. You're listening to sounds as you walk through, and it smells like a mine. It looks like a mine. It feels like a mine. The only thing that's missing is the work being done. And if any of my dummies move, I think I would probably quit. So I'm happy that they don't.
I think that is so cool. It's got to be such a great place. Now, let me take a moment and share how you can connect with the Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center. You can find them online at undergroundminingmuseum.com or on Facebook at Creede Underground Mining Museum. If you'd like to reach out directly, email miningmuseum@mincocolo, that's mincocolo.com, or call 719-658-0811. Their mailing address is P.O. Box 422, Creede, Colorado, 81130. And the museum itself is located at number 9 USFS Road, 503 in Creede. Here's a quick look at visiting details. Summer hours run from Memorial Day through Labor Day, with a gift shop open daily from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And audio-guided tours are available from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Live guided tours are offered Tuesday through Saturday at 3 p.m. Admission is $20 for adults, $15 for students, and kids 5 and under are free. Audio tours are $10 for adults, $8 for seniors, $7 for military vets, first responders, and students, with kids 5 and under free. Winter hours run through Labor Day through Memorial Day. When the gift shop is open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. and audio tours are available from 11 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. And don't forget the Underground Community Center is also available for rentals, meetings, weddings, reunions, parties, and more. For rental information, just call 719-658-0811 or email miningmuseum@mincocolo.com. So whether you're planning a visit, a special event, or just want to support their mission, the Creede Underground Mining Museum is ready to welcome you. That all sound right, Heather?
Yes.
Fantastic. Can you describe how your museum supports the community, what its key missions are, and who comprises its membership?
Yeah. So we partner with a number of community organizations in town, as well as other nonprofits in town. We mainly partner with the Elks Lodge for community bingo throughout the summer, which helps benefit both organizations. The Elks Lodge donates quite a bit of money to community fundraising efforts, just depending on who asks and where it's needed. The Ladies' Aid Society does very similar, and they also help people in need who are having trouble paying bills, whether that be utilities or hospital bills. They help provide food for memorial services and folks who are in need. And they really just are a community organization that does it all. So we partner with both of them in a variety of ways. And we also make sure to provide a space for any memorial services. We do not charge for facilities usage for our community members who need a memorial space, because that's part of being a community member, is offering our facilities to anyone who needs it. And the death of a loved one is never an easy thing and often comes with financial burden. And we just don't feel that it's right to add to that financial burden. And we always like to help our community out in that way. We also provide a affordable venue for all sorts of events, weddings, large shows, meetings. The EMT crew the past 2 years has done a holiday party here. We've had the Veterans Affairs Department host their Veterans Day dinner here, and a variety of just community-based events and offerings.
Fantastic. I think it's time we should take a break for a few minutes, Heather.
All right. I was about to say something profound, but I guess it'll just have to wait till after the break.
Listeners, stay with us. We'll be right back after this message, inviting you to discover Creede, Colorado, and the Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center. It's your perfect go-to destination for unforgettable events, community connections, and the year-round breathtaking beauty of the Colorado mountains.
High in the San Juan Mountains, tucked into the historic mining town of Creede, Colorado, lies a hidden gem unlike any other, the Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center. Step underground and into history, where 600 feet of hand-blasted tunnels bring the story of Colorado's silver boom to life. Visitors explore passages lined with authentic exhibits, from 19th century miners hammering rock by hand to the powerful drills and mechanized equipment that changed the industry forever.
Whether you're fascinated by mining history, looking for a fun family adventure, or simply drawn to the beauty of the Colorado mountains, the highly recommended Creede Underground Museum offers something for everyone. Audio-guided tours are available year-round, and during the summer, live guides bring the mining story vividly to life.
And there's more than history here. The Underground Community Center is a one-of-a-kind venue, perfect for weddings, reunions, meetings, dances, and celebrations of all kinds. With 10,000 square feet of space, a commercial kitchen, and a fully stocked bar, it's a warm and welcoming gathering place carved right into the rock.
Imagine hosting your event underground at 8,852 feet above sea level. The Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center invites you to visit, learn, celebrate, and become part of the story of Creede.
Plan your trip today at undergroundminingmuseum.com. You can also connect with us on Facebook at Creede Underground Mining Museum, email miningmuseum@mincolo.com, or call 719-658-0811.
That's the Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center, where history, community, and the Colorado mountains meet underground.
Hi, I'm Lisa Kinney, and I'm here to cozy up with my tea as the museum director at the Crossroads Museum. Grab a cup and listen in.
Hello there. This is Beth Russell, membership director at the Brentwater Historical Society. History isn't boring when you listen to Preservation Oaks with Sean Radcliff. It's epic.
This is Ann Rollins from the Old Fort Genealogical Society, and I love listening to Sean Thomas Radcliff on MicroStream Radio.
Ever since I introduced Jim to Preservation Oaks, he's been begging for a second helping of history.
Hey there, folks. It's your friendly neighborhood history guru. And for a limited time only, tune into Preservation Oaks and snag our recipe of the week for smoked octopus and turnips. It's the secret, old-fashioned method that seals in all the juices. Trust me, even those parts you never thought were edible will surprise you. Just close your eyes if you have to. Yes, Preservation Oaks isn't just your go-to for historical tidbits. We're also your one-stop shop for octopus and turnip. Whether you're whipping up something as fancy and complicated as octopus on the half shell or keeping it down home with good old octopus on a stick, our recipes have got you covered. With us, you can serve up a hearty dose of octopus and history every single night.
Preservation Oaks, because who needs anything else for excitement when you've got history and octopus?
And now, back to Preservation Oaks.
Well, there you are. Welcome back. Let's get going.
Welcome back to Preservation Oaks. I'm your host, Sean Radcliff, and we're here today with Ms. Heather Brophy, director of the Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center. Heather, let's pick up where we left off. Welcome back.
I'm glad to be back. You've been keeping me on my toes, but I'm excited to dive back in.
Fantastic. Heather, can you discuss your journey and the experiences that brought you to your role in the organization?
Yeah, so it's kind of a funny little story, but definitely didn't seem like it was pointing in this direction from the beginning. But when I was growing up here in Creede, I was fascinated by the history here. I mean, there's just so much of it, diving all the way back into the geological history and then, moving forward into human history within this area. And so I always just had that in the back of my mind. And then as I got older, I pursued a career in theater, specifically production. And at some point, ended up back here in Creede on an interim, what was meant to be an interim. And as life does when you make plans, other things happened. And I ended up staying here, meeting my husband, getting married, and really settling down. And then back in 2022, the previous director approached me in the wintertime. She asked me if I had summer work because most people around here work seasonal jobs and multiple of them to make it work. And that's part of the joys of living in paradise. And so she had approached me, said she was looking to retire. She needed to hand the museum off to someone who she knew would not let it fall into disrepair, and asked if I'd be interested in working for her for the summer with the possibility of applying for her job. And I did. And I applied for the job and I ended up getting it. And now here I am, 2.5 years later, stumbling my way through what it means to run a museum. And not just museum standards, but also, because we are a tour mine, all of the standards and safety concerns that come from, our tour mine regulations, which have been updated in the past year. So I've been busy making sure we're up to code on everything, which mainly for us involves training on safety procedures because of the way that we were built. And I'm very grateful for that. But there's a lot to be done here, and I'm figuring it out as we go along, and grateful to be here, but definitely not where I saw myself 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's amazing how things work out, huh? I'm glad you're there, though. I'm really glad you're there. You're the right person for that.
Thank you.
Now, what notable events or exhibits are on the horizon that the community should look forward to?
So we are getting ready for 2 traveling exhibits, which are coming in 2026 as part of the America 250 Colorado 150 anniversary celebration. We have coming in February an exhibit called The Dry, Black Women's Legacy in a Farming Community. It was put together by History Colorado. Both of our exhibits were put together by History Colorado that we're getting in next year. So The Dry focuses on this community that was founded by former sharecroppers on the Eastern Plains that was their own plot of land and their own community, and the women who helped that community thrive. And we're bringing it to Creede and highlighting in our opening night exhibit unveiling the women of the Upper Rio Grande River Valley. Because as I talked about earlier, the Upper Rio Grande River Valley going up to Animas Forks was once a stagecoach route. And as the mining days in Creede kind of took over and the railroad, the stagecoach route became obsolete. And the women specifically who had already made this place their home, they didn't want to leave. So they figured out how to provide for the miners versus providing for the stagecoach route. And a lot of the settlements and guest ranches we have around here today are remnants of that. And so we are focusing on those women. It's women who brought electricity to Creede. It wasn't the men. It was the women who founded the Ladies' Aid Society and helped make sure that the community was taken care of. It was the women who, were postmasters and, owned saloons and did all these things that when you look at the rest of America during the time period that they were doing these things, women weren't bold and they were encouraged to be meek, and they were a wife and they had children, and that's what they did. And the women here, while they were still being wives and mothers, they were building the community and they were building a legacy to hand on to their children. And we wouldn't be here today without those women. So we really want to honor them, as well as the women of the Dry, whose story is so very similar. And then in the fall, we are getting in Ute STEM, which is about Colorado's original science, technology, engineering, and math. And with this area being one of the summer hunting grounds for the Paiute tribe, this history is intrinsically tied to this area. And it was important to me to bring it to the forefront, especially in a year when we're celebrating our founding anniversaries.
Oh, yeah. That's really exciting. Thank you for announcing those events. Do you have any ties to the Ute tribes or the Native American tribes in the area?
I don't particularly, and the Ute reservation is a little bit farther north from where we are at now. So we have a number of residents of Native American genealogy, but we don't really have any ties to the community other than just our location.
Oh, okay. That's going to be really cool for people to learn about that in your area.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for sharing
Basket
that.
weaving, shelter making, beads.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting.
Now, I understand you have a haunted museum event every year. How did it go this year?
It went really well. We actually only did a haunted house for our younger kids, as we have had quite a bit of stuff going on, including some flooding due to the recent rain. But the kids always love the museum. We do a rec center party all day long here, right around Halloween every year. And we had quite a few kids in attendance this year, and it was really fun.
That's cool. Now, is there any potential for expanding either the facility or the collection? And are there any plans in the works?
As far as expanding the facility, there's no plans on the horizon, and I doubt there ever will be. We have a lot of facilities upgrades, but as far as expansion, that would include breaking out some heavy machinery and blasting out more tunnels. So I don't see that happening anytime in the near future. But we do have quite a bit of facilities projects going on right now to just help bring the museum back into the 21st century.
Right. Okay.
And we've also got, the traveling exhibits, and we're hoping to work on some more Creede specific exhibits to be temporary installations to help bring in school groups in the spring and fall moving forward.
Boy, it's going to be an exciting year for you in 2026, huh?
Hopefully.
Man.
But there's never a dull moment around here anyway.
Now, what are some memorable or humorous incidents from your organization's past that you'd be willing to recount?
So we always have some, random facility project that pops up unexpectedly. It makes itself known. We had a wedding back in February that we loaded everything in just fine. And when we went to load it out, our path was blocked and we had to figure out a different route to get all the goods out of the cave. We have a number of tiger salamanders. We've discovered a family in here this year. And one of them decided to go into the women's room earlier this year, which was super fun for myself, the salamander, and the woman who found him.
Oh, God. I bet. Oh, man. I was thinking about all the visitors. You mentioned there were 38,000 cell phone pings in your area. Now, all those 38,000 aren't at the museum, but I imagine since you have 10,000 square feet, you do events all the time throughout the year. You've got a lot of people coming in and out of there, and you probably hear a lot of feedback from people about how unique your mining museum and your community center is. Can you share any memorable interactions or comments from visitors that have left a lasting impression on you?
Yeah, I'd love to. So we always have a healthy population of chipmunks running around outside, and every once in a while they get curious and try to come inside. So there have been many visitors who have watched myself or an employee chasing chipmunks out of the museum and cursing at them on their way out, brooms and everything involved, and they always chuckle about it and then go out and feed the chipmunks later. Help us keep them around. The previous director told me a story of deep in the winter when there's not really much traffic through this area. They were doing a deep clean of tables and chairs, which we have a number of. We use them for our events as well as renting them out.
Yeah.
And some unexpected visitors showed up at the museum. And so someone ran into the gift shop, sold them their ticket, sent them out on tour. And later on, about half an hour later, one of the employees was walking past the exit of the museum and realized that they had never turned on the lights.
Oh.
So this group came out of the museum with their cell phones. They'd all pulled out their cell phone flashlights, and many profuse apologies were made. And the visitors said, "Oh, we thought it was great. It was a really authentic experience."
I bet.
And then I can only imagine. I've been in there when the power goes out, and it's not necessarily a fun experience. So more power to them for loving it.
Yeah.
But then we also have you'd be surprised by how many people come in here and they haven't been here in a while. We've rebuilt the awning a little bit, so it looks a little different than it did, 10 years ago. And people will come in and ask, "Did you guys move?" And no, the answer is still, we did not move the entire cave. But many, many visitors swear it was farther up the canyon the last time they were here.
Wow.
And, I can relate to the experience when I first started here. I hadn't been into the museum part since about 7th grade, and I was very disoriented, to say the least, my first couple weeks.
I bet it's really, really dark in there when the lights are out, because it's underground, right?
Yes. You don't know what dark is until you've been in the dark underground with no access to sunlight.
Yeah. Think about those miners way back when. Holy cow.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
With a carbide lamp strapped to their head. Braver men than I can tell you that.
crazy. Braver men than I, too. Now, what can people see as far as exhibits currently showcased at your facilities?
Yeah, so we have a number of exhibits that go through drilling, mucking, blasting, stoping, the different equipment used throughout the years, and the blacksmith shop, the other jobs that were going on underground, not just the mining. So you think of mining, you think of those guys digging holes. Well, there was a blacksmith on the crew, making all of those metal tools for the miners to use underground. There was the guy wrangling the livestock to get the ore out of the mountain. There are the people in the crusher room. There are the people up in the ore house, going through all this stuff that's coming out of the mine. And our museum really shows you the full scope of the jobs that were done underground and above ground within the mining industry.
Oh, that's so cool. Yeah, there's a lot to learn, huh? Those people really worked hard.
Yes.
Huh.
Yes, they did. And we're grateful for them.
Yeah. I know I was talking with some folks in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and they imported Cornish miners from Cornwall, England, into that area to because they had such expertise in mining. Did you guys do any of that?
Pretty much anywhere with hard rock mining, very specifically hard rock mining, you will find an influx of Cornish immigrants. And that is because the tin mining done in Cornwall is extremely similar to the hard rock mining done out here in the Western US.
I'll be darned.
So we actually get a lot of our terminology from the Cornish miners. Back in the days of hand stealing, your best guys would be the hand stealers. And the Cornish miners were the best guys. So they are doing the single and double man drilling. Well, you'd get a Cornish guy on your crew. And as a boss, you'd say, hey, do you have any family or friends that want to come over and work in the mines?
All right.
And the response was 9 times out of 10, oh, yeah, I've got a cousin Jack. So they became known as the Cousin Jacks. And hand stealing became known as jacking, single and double jacking. So either one man hand drilling, single jacking, or 2-man hand drilling, double jacking. Now, later on, you get the jackleg. That terminology evolved with the technology because of those original Cornish miners that came over and made the American hard rock mining industry what it was.
Wow. And do you serve Cornish pasties in your town?
We do not.
Okay.
I don't think we have anywhere that does, actually.
Okay. Yeah, they still do in the Upper Peninsula in Michigan. It's a part of their cuisine, their heritage.
Yes.
It must take a lot to maintain that mine and all the safety procedures and all of the exhibits. What restoration or conservation initiatives have been completed recently to maintain your exhibits?
We are currently working with the Skills USA program at the local high school to update all of the signage within the museum, some of which was damaged in a recent flood. We are also working on, just within the museum itself, replacing some of the dummies as they age out, some of their clothing as the moisture works its less than magic on that clothing. 30-year-old jeans that have been wet the whole time start to get a little rough.
Right.
And also working on just preserving that clothing into the future so that we don't have to replace it as often moving forward. And then we're also working on updating our lighting system within the museum because the old lighting fixtures, which were donated in the 90s, most of them were not bought new. Most of the equipment and mining relics within the museum were all donated. Most of the equipment used to build this facility and used in this facility was donated by Homestake Mining Company and a number of the mining families. Monon Leasing family really put in a lot of money in those in-kind donations to the museum. And so it's our job to preserve that. And part of that is updating the lighting system so that we have light bulbs that actually fit in lighting fixtures.
Oh, cool. Are you going LED?
Yes.
Oh.
That is our goal, just for energy efficiency purposes.
Yeah.
And then we also have a large project going on the outside of our facility. So in 2019, heavy spring runoffs caused some significant damage to the old cribbing and awning structure on the exterior of our facility, the only part of the exterior of the facility, truly. And the whole thing collapsed. The previous director was in the museum when it happened. She was in the gift shop, and she said it got so loud. She could hear the chipmunks. The knocking was crazy. And she walked outside, turned around, and watched the awning collapse behind her.
Oh, my goodness.
So the Tommyknockers did their due diligence and got her out of the museum on time. And that started a huge, $100,000 plus project to reconstruct the awning. And when they reconstructed the awning, they knew that a drainage system needed to be put in place, but they wanted to give the structure time to settle and learn what that drainage system needed to be based on the flow of water through the awning and down the mountain, and see what was the best solution rather than doing a hypothetical fix and hoping for the best. So now we're at a time when it's time to put in that awning drainage system. And in addition to that, we have discovered that, so when they built the awning, they no longer had anything to anchor the new awning to, with the way that they constructed this versus the old awning, above the gift shop entrance. And so they built an entirely separate portal into the gift shop entrance that is not connected to the rest of the awning. And we have seen in recent years some erosion coming down the mountain from above that gift shop awning. And every time it rains, we get a mudslide coming down above the gift shop awning. And at this point in time, it is still safe for visitors, but we want to ensure that that remains. So we're working on ground stabilization with that area as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
which is a huge undertaking.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you're talking about shoring up like a mountain and making sure that that doesn't come down on you, boy, that's a lot.
Yes. While nature works against us, it's an uphill battle. It's like fighting gravity.
Now, you used a term just a moment ago. You said the Tommyknockers did their job.
Yes.
I don't understand that term.
So it's another little fun mining quirk that the Cornish miners brought with them. Tommyknockers in Cornish mythology were underground spirits. Now, whether those spirits were deceased miners or something inherent that lived underground, sort of like brownie sprites or water nymphs, your fae of Celtic mythology.
Yeah.
It really depends on who you ask what that answer is going to be, which one of those spirits a Tommyknocker is. It's my belief that they are fae creatures, just from my experiences underground living with them. But the two things that they are known for are helping to protect miners from collapse by warning them of the imminent collapse. So before a mine collapses, there is knocking. It's the rock giving way. So that was equated to the Tommyknockers, and that's where they get their name, Tommyknocker.
Oh, okay.
They also loved to play pranks. Your lunchbox might go missing because you made them mad yesterday. Your hammer, your drill steel, whatever it is that you're looking for, you'd blame the Tommyknockers for stealing it, even if it was your, friend Joe who decided to play a prank on you. It was the Tommyknockers' fault.
That's fantastic. Thank you for explaining that. You mentioned earlier that when the mine was built, they built it to be handicap accessible. Can you describe that a little bit about how people with handicaps or in wheelchairs can access the museum?
Yeah, so we do have, handicap parking out front, but it is all paved coming from the entrance of the gift shop all the way into the museum, and then paved all the way around. There's no levels to go up or down. There's no elevator rides. It's all just one walking path that goes through the museum that is paved, and it is wide enough for those super large strollers that you see. I think it's actually technically large enough for a small car to go through.
Very cool. Wow. So anybody can visit and have a good time and attend events at the community center without worrying about being handicapped.
Exactly. The only people who really worry coming in here are claustrophobic.
Right. Okay.
And even most people who have claustrophobia are able to at least make it into the gift shop or the community center, even if they don't feel comfortable going through the museum itself.
Yeah, okay. Now, I know the museum has tunnels that were carved out to make it sort of an authentic thing where people go through various tunnels. It sounds really cool. What's the most valuable ancient or popular exhibit or artifact in your collection?
So like I've mentioned, we had a lot of equipment donated by specifically Homestake Mining Company as we were getting started here. And a lot of that equipment is irreplaceable. So there is a number of mining relics in our museum that if lost, we would not be able to find elsewhere, or it would be a very, very difficult task to find it. And it will probably not be in as good of condition. So yeah, our museum as a whole is a little bit antiquated as far as mining technology. And most of that stuff is not surviving outside of museums these days.
Okay. Yeah, that's very cool. Heather, what can you tell us about the overall scope and scale of the artifacts and records your organization holds?
We hold roughly 100 years worth of mining technology and techniques and millions of years of geological history in the walls and in the rock specimen rooms within the museum. And I think one of my favorite rock specimens really tells a tale of volcanic activity, and that is Salbelly agate, which is a form of blue lace agate that was only found in the Creede volcanic area, Creede geologic area, that miners nicknamed Salbelly because it looks a lot like bacon structure when you cut through it in the right direction.
Okay.
And it's got all these layers, and each layer is a different flow of lava as it came over and formed this agate inside of the volcanic activity inside of the magma pools. Yes, nature is miraculous.
No doubt about that. I'm sorry to interrupt, Heather, but it's time for us to take a break for a few minutes.
No worries. It's a great time to take a moment of pause.
Listeners, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this message, inviting you to volunteer, get involved, and take part in the many events hosted year-round at the Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center. It's a warm, welcoming space where you can enjoy unique gatherings, make memories, and have fun underground in the heart of the Colorado mountains.
Peaches in the summertime, apples in the fall. If I can't have the girl I love, then I won't have none at all. Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, I know. Shady Grove, my little love, I'm bound for Shady Grove. Wish I had a banjo string made of golden twine. Every tune I play on it, I wish that girl was mine. Shady Grove, my little love, Shady Grove, my darling. Shady Grove, my little love, I'm going back to Harlan.
All year long, there's something happening in Creede, Colorado. And at the heart of it all is the Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center. From winter to summer, fall to spring, this one-of-a-kind underground venue brings the community together with events that are fun, welcoming, and unforgettable. Kick off the year in style with a new traveling exhibit preview event, which will include oral histories from area residents. This will be a night of intrigue, laughter, and good food. On the 4th of July, the museum fires up the grill for an old-fashioned cookout, serving classic burger and dog baskets from noon until 3. Then, in mid-July, wood shavings fly at the annual Woodcarvers Rendezvous as talented artisans from near and far showcase their craft. Just weeks later, collectors and rockhounds gather for the Creede Rock and Mineral Show, held the first weekend in August, a celebration of gems, minerals, and the natural treasures of Colorado. As fall arrives, things take a spooky turn at the Haunted Museum. Open Halloween night from 7 to 10 p.m. Brave the tunnels if you dare. And as the holidays roll around, the community gathers underground for the Thanksgiving dinner and the Christmas dinner. Two heartwarming traditions filled with great food, neighbors, and holiday cheer.
No matter the season, the Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center offers events that bring people together in a place like no other, deep inside the mountains, surrounded by the history of Creede. Plan your trip today at undergroundminingmuseum.com. You can also connect with us on Facebook at Creede Underground Mining Museum, email miningmuseum@mincolo.com, or call 719-658-0811.
The Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center. History, community, and celebration. All underground, all year long.
Believe it or not, there was a time when pull-tab ring tops on aluminum cans and easy twist-off bottle tops did not exist. Instead, people had can opener devices. On one end of the device was a can opener which punctured the tops of cans to allow pouring and drinking. On the other end of the same device was a crown top bottle cap opener which lifted crown cork bottle caps off bottles, and you couldn't reseal them. Every household had multiple bottle openers laying around. It was in the 1960s when pull-tab rings for cans and twist-off bottle caps were first introduced. Here's a 1960s ad sponsored by Alcoa Aluminum and featuring the first edition band singing about the new aluminum pull tabs and twist-off caps.
Alcoa presents the first edition singing about soft drinks in aluminum ring-top cans and bottles with twist-off caps.
He's got a ring for your finger, baby. Makes it easy, you will find. He's got a new twist on tomorrow, found a way of making time. He's a good time liberator. Keeps the clock from saying later. Makes the good times so much greater.
If you want to be a good time liberator and make the good times greater, the easy way is to open soft drinks and cans with ring tops made of Alcoa aluminum. Look for the word aluminum on the top. And the easy way to liberate soft drinks in bottles is with Alcoa aluminum easy open caps. And you can even reseal the bottle.
Thank you for listening to Preservation Oaks. If you're a member of a museum, historical or genealogical society that has not yet been featured as a guest on our program, please let them know to contact preservationoaks@gmail.com. We welcome everyone. Thank you.
Just a reminder about the military holidays we observe annually in these United States. Armed Forces Day is to acknowledge those still in uniform serving our nation. Veterans Day is for those who served and have hung up the uniform. We honor those who served. Memorial Day is for those who never made it out of their uniform. We reflect on those who gave the ultimate sacrifice for our country. Please teach your children to observe these days each year.
And now, back to Preservation Oaks.
Welcome back to Preservation Oaks. I'm Sean Radcliff, and we're here with Director Heather Brophy from the Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center. We're learning a lot about your unique facility and museum, Heather. Thank you for educating everybody, and welcome back.
Oh, it's good to be back. I think we were just getting into the good stuff. So let's pick up where we left off and uncover more secrets from the Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center.
Great. How does your organization secure its funding, and what specific financial objectives have you set for this year?
So, majority of our funds come from our museum visitors. That covers a little over half, usually, of our operating budget historically. As we work on a lot of these facilities projects, we are depending more and more on grant funding and individual donations in order to get those projects done. Right now, we have that awning project going on, and we have reached out to the community and asked for funding, as well as applied to a number of grants and different funding places. We are owned by the county government, so we do have a little bit of fallback when we need it on the county government when they have money to give us.
Right. And that's always questionable year to year, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does the county have enough money to give us a donation? Does the city government have enough money to give us a donation? What do our museum sales look like? What do our gift shop sales look like? It's, how many events are we going to do as far as outside rentals? So everything's usually a little bit up in the air.
All right. Right. Makes sense. Now, can you highlight some of the fundraising events or opportunities your organization offers to help fulfill its mission?
Yeah. So anytime we've got one of those facilities projects going on, we welcome donations specified towards those projects. We also have a hall of donors where you can buy a mining car. The color of that mining car depends on the level of giving that you're at. So for $50, you get a copper car. $250 gives you a silver car, and $500 plus gives you a gold.
Very cool. What are some key annual events organized by your group, and how do they engage or benefit the community?
All of our events are geared towards bringing something to the community, whether that's business, a gathering place, somewhere for people to go who don't have anyone to spend Thanksgiving dinner with. So every year we host a community Thanksgiving dinner that is truly a community event. We have turkeys donated by the local grocery store, hams donated by our hardware store. Our Ladies Aid Society makes mashed potatoes and stuffing. And then the community at large brings in both desserts and potluck sides. Everybody comes together and we all sit in this building and eat together. And that's the week before Thanksgiving. And we do the same thing in December, right before Christmas. We have a community Christmas dinner. That one is put on by the Elks, and we host it here. So we do a lot of the decorating, and then the Elks does a toy drive. They provide all of the food. They bring in Santa, and we have a big holiday celebration here together. And it's a ton of fun. In the past, previous directors have done a craft fair during Black Friday weekend. We have a townwide event of chocolate festival, and you, even if you are the most dedicated chocolate lover, will leave the day not wanting chocolate for at least another few hours. And so during that, this year, we will have a craft fair to showcase local artisans and provide a shopping experience for people who don't necessarily want to go on Amazon or onto, Temu or Tidu and buy whatever crap they're selling there. They can come here and buy the handmade local pieces by local artists that are going to be a little bit unique, a little bit different, and a lot of bit fun.
And a lot better, I know. Just great. All of your events, are they all in the Underground Community Center?
Yes. Everything is in the Underground Community Center. We also have a banquet hall space that is lovingly called the Cave. So a lot of our larger events utilize the community center, the cave, and our outdoor area. For community Thanksgiving and Christmas, the craft fair will all be hosted specifically in the community center. And then in the summertime, we offer community bingo with the Elks Lodge. So the Elks Lodge comes in here, hosts bingo. We run concessions and have the facility. And that's open to the public and runs Memorial Day through Labor Day in the community center. And then we also, in the summertime, offer cave yoga, which is in the cave. And that has been a ton of fun, and we've had a really good turnout. This was the second summer doing that, and we will definitely be continuing it. And in the heat of the summer, on the 4th of July, we utilize our outdoor space with a cook-off. We serve burger and hot dog baskets and just give people a little space to sit away from the commotion of downtown, under the shade, under the awning, and have a little burger and hot dog before they head back down to the mining competitions going on downtown, all of the vendors that we have set up every year, and the other festivities we've got going on here.
Just fantastic. I was reading about a winter writing workshop that you guys put on as well.
Yes. So this will be the 3rd year of the Winter Writers Workshop. I do that in conjunction with a dear friend of mine who is a phenomenal writer, and she helps lead the class. And, it's not really a class. It really is more of a workshop. We all bring in our pieces and offer critiques to each other and a lot of words of encouragement. And just, it's a nice, safe place that last year we dubbed Yoga for the Mind. It just gives you a little outlet to forget about the world at large and concentrate on your creative outlets, because we as humans are not designed to constantly be in the thick of things and in the stress of things. And so it helps give us all a little break and a little refresh moment. And we've really developed quite a little writing community within that workshop.
Fantastic. Now, how does your organization work with schools to bring lessons on local history to students?
We are working on updating that programming and bringing more stuff in to bring school groups in and offer them more than just what's been here for the past 30 years without taking away from the Mining Museum. But even just within the Mining Museum, we offer discounted rates for school groups. And we are currently working on an activity booklet that will go to all of the school kids that come through here. It'll be included in their tour package. And we are hoping that will continue to create excitement among the newer generations on what this place is and the history of mining in general.
That is exciting. And you're really busy, Heather, all the time. Wow.
Yeah, I don't like being idle.
Yeah. Now, do you guys have a newsletter, or how do you share updates on milestones and accomplishments with the public?
I am really glad you asked. We've got a Facebook, and we share almost all of our news and events on Facebook. We are working on a mailing list so that we can send a newsletter out to people who are interested. So if you're interested in joining our mailing list, please email me. And also continuing to build a social media presence on other apps, not just Facebook, to, move into the modern day of advertising.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, there's lots of apps out there that people use.
Oh, yeah.
I imagine with all the events that you host, and the different lectures and educational events and holiday events and so on, that you're going to need some volunteers. Can you share some of the volunteer opportunities available for those who want to contribute to your organization's work?
All of our events, we always are looking for volunteers to help out in one way or another. So anyone who's interested, just reach out to me. I'd love to have you. We do have a pretty well-established volunteer base at this time of just a group of people that I can reach out to. But, we're always looking for more people to join the family. And we couldn't do what we do without our volunteers. So we're very appreciative of anyone who donates any amount of time to our organization.
Oh, fantastic.
Anyone who does volunteer with us does qualify for some perks through our affiliate membership with History Colorado.
Oh, great. Fantastic. Now, you're sort of alone there in your county. You are the county seat, and you are one of the only cities in the county. But there must be other museums in the local area or other historical groups or something like that. Do you partner with them at all?
Yes. Our biggest partnership is as an affiliate member of History Colorado, of their affiliate network. And that has brought us a lot of resources just in the logistics of running a museum and help with, bringing in our traveling exhibits and press releases and just a lot of support. The affiliate membership is growing. It's a new program for them. And I'm really excited to be one of the initial members and to get to see where this program goes, because they are very helpful and have a lot of resources for us smaller museums, especially being centered in Denver and having so many prosperous museums within Civic Center Park. To have that partnership with them is phenomenal. And I had been looking for something like that, and then a letter came across my desk, and it couldn't have been more perfect timing, and I'm very happy to have partnered with them. There's also a number of museums throughout the San Luis Valley. This is one of the oldest settled parts of Colorado, including the oldest church in Colorado and the oldest city in Colorado. And that's kind of on the other side of the valley. But the history here is rich and old. And the SLV Museum Trail helps to bring all of us museums together, so we kind of have somewhere to bounce ideas off of and help each other out and bring tourism to each of us from each other.
That's fantastic. I was thinking about your relationship with the miners that built the place and how you've gotten to know them and the other people in the community. Does your organization collect and preserve any oral histories? And are there any recent projects you can share?
So the best way to experience the oral histories from the local miners is by going on one of our live guided tours. Our tour was put together by retired miners, and we have an audio guided tour that is offered every single day year round that we are open. And that provides you with, the surface level. These are the mining techniques and technology that was used in the mining industry as you walk through the museum. The live tour, for reference, the audio tour takes about half an hour. The live tour can take up to 2 hours, just depending on how many questions are asked, and you go through the exact same walking distance of space. Our live tours used to be led by retired miners, but those are becoming fewer and farther between, and the ones that are left don't necessarily want to work anymore, especially not talking to people for 2 hours.
Right.
And I can't blame them.
Yeah.
So we have a local history buff who is doing the live tour currently, and he has talked to many of those old miners, gotten as many stories and anecdotes as he could from them, as well as studying the geological history and mining history of this area in depth, so that he can provide a more in-depth tour and a little bit more insight into the mining industry, very specifically here in Creede, for our guests. And that's always super fun. So I encourage anyone who wants a live tour to come visit us in the summertime and call ahead and book a tour.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. What books, articles, or online resources would you recommend for people eager to learn more about the history of this area?
So the number one book that I would recommend is, I believe, out of publication. So if you can find it, it's a really good read, dense, but good. It's Hermione Granger's idea of light reading. It's called A Silver Camp Called Creede by Richard Houston. That's Huston.
Okay.
If you can find that, I highly recommend it. It's packed full of information. But I'd also recommend anything you can find written by Sandra Wagner and Carol Ann Wetherell. Okay. They've published a number of books together. I'm currently reading Hidden History of the Upper Rio Grande, and it is fascinating.
Nice. You're such an expert. It's just amazing the knowledge you've been able to portray in this podcast episode.
I'm barely scratching the surface.
Well, I really appreciate you being here. I'd like to provide listeners with information for the organization once again. If you'd like to learn more about the Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center, you can visit them online at undergroundminingmuseum.com or find them on Facebook at Creede Underground Mining Museum. And stick around. I'll share full details again a little later in the program. Heather, how can supporters make financial contributions to your organization, and what methods are available for making donations?
I am so glad you asked, Sean. Anyone who would like to make financial donations to the museum can contact me via email or phone, or come stop in the museum. You can also mail checks to P.O. Box 422, Creede Co. 81130. But if you are interested in donating specifically to an upcoming project or exhibit updates or facilities updates, please just email or call me. I'd love to have a conversation, and we'd love to have your support.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Can you share some current projects or goals your organization is working on that the community can help with?
So our biggest ones, I think I've mentioned, are awning drainage and ground stabilization project. We also, in our banquet hall space, are trying to update the ceiling and the drainage that is in the cave, because being a cave, we get water coming from above often. So that is just general maintenance. It is time for that piece of our facility to be addressed. We have a number of facilities upgrades that we are looking to make in the next few years, just to help bring this facility up to standards for the world that we're living in today. This facility is unique and wonderful, and we need to make sure it is preserved. And there's a lot to do to get it there.
Oh, yeah. You're always working on that stuff because Mother Nature never stops, right?
She does not, and we live within her.
Yeah. In your opinion, how can we motivate younger people to connect with history and engage in community initiatives?
You know, I've thought for a very long time that the best way to foster learning is to foster fun learning. And I think that making learning fun in any way is always going to bring in, especially newer generations, but it's going to bring in everyone. And it's just important to me that we provide an experience that kids enjoy so that they want to come back. And especially with that activity book, I'm including a lot of pages that talk about the mining industry on a larger scale. So, you know, when you come into the museum, you see the laborers, but they're not the only people who are making the mining industry work. There's chemists, geophysicists, physicists, engineers, and a plethora of other big science, high-paying jobs that are very necessary to the industry as a whole. And so just bringing those jobs and those opportunities to the forefront of kids' minds so that when they're thinking of what am I going to do next as they, you know, graduate and move on to their adult lives, that they know all of the options that are out there for them.
Yeah, very good point. Thank you for that. I think it's kind of self-evident from what we've discussed and how much we've discussed the uniqueness of this area, the uniqueness of your facility, the beauty of the area, the value of what you're doing. But I'd like to hear something from you about it. How does your organization stand out in serving the community, and what makes its role particularly valuable?
One thing that I think is really wonderful about Creede is that there are so many community organizations that we don't really stand out. We blend in, and we blend in together because we're all helping each other. I think that's extremely important in our small community, that we have all of these resources, and so many resources that sometimes it can almost be overwhelming of who to go to ask for support.
Yeah, that's really nice to be living in a place like that. That's really cool.
Yes, not necessarily easy, but we love it here.
Now, is there any additional message or important information you'd like to share with the community or your members?
I would encourage everyone to come back through and take another look, especially if it's been a while since you've been through here, because you may be surprised at the things you've forgotten.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. Now, for the other museum geeks out there, how does your organization measure the impact you have on visitors and the community? Do you use any form of management or metrics framework?
We upgraded from a old school cash register to a POS system this past, or I guess 2 years ago, that is helping us to measure our visitor numbers each year so that we don't have to keep track of them in an analog type of way. And that has been extremely beneficial. And we are working on continuing to upgrade that framework and keep track of our metrics a little bit better and engaging with our customers. But our POS system does allow for customer feedback, and most of it has been really positive, and it's been great to see.
That's great. Well, Heather, I want to thank you for sharing your time and insights with us today. I've learned a lot, and I'm grateful for the chance to hear about the amazing ways your organization supports your community. It's been a joy to meet you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, Sean. It's been an honor to be on your program and be featured here among all of the great museums you've covered.
And with that, we'll end our time with our guest, Director Heather Brophy. Listeners, please stay tuned for my comments and wrap-up, which is coming up next.
And now, for a Preservation Oaks historical moment.
Every year on November 2nd, Christians around the world pause for a sacred moment of remembrance, a day known as All Souls' Day, or the commemoration of all the faithful departed. It's a day that reaches across centuries, cultures, and continents. A day when prayers rise like incense for loved ones who have gone before us. A day reminding us that love, faith, and memory endure beyond the grave.
The roots of All Souls' Day go back far, even before the dawn of Christianity. Long before the first cathedrals and monasteries, people across the ancient world paused at this same turning point of the year to honor their dead. The Celts celebrated Samhain, marking the end of harvest and the beginning of winter. Fires were lit, names were spoken aloud, and it was believed that the veil between worlds grew thin. As Christ's sacrifices and Christianity unfolded to the world, the Church embraced this deep human instinct to remember. By the 4th and 5th centuries, early Christians were gathering at the tombs of martyrs, praying not just for the saints, but for all souls who had died in faith. In the 10th century, the Benedictine monks of Cluny Abbey in France brought a profound focus to this act of remembrance. They believed prayers and good works offered by the living could aid the departed, that love expressed through faith could bring light to souls still journeying toward heaven. In words that will resonate with Christians today, they believed, as we do, that prayer has power, and that we are led by our faith to pray continually in an ongoing conversation with our Father in heaven. In 998 AD, their abbot, Saint Odilo of Cluny, declared November 2nd as a day of universal prayer for the dead. From those cloistered halls, the tradition spread across Europe, and by the 14th century, All Souls' Day had become a central observance of the Christian year. Today, it remains one of the most moving and intimate days in the Christian calendar, with Catholic, Anglican, Lutheran, and Orthodox Christians observing it annually. On this day, churches hold special masses, and bells toll in sacred remembrance. Families visit cemeteries, clean gravestones, and light candles that flicker through the night, a symbol of hope in darkness and of faith that life continues beyond what we can see.
Around the world, All Souls' Day has taken on beautifully diverse forms. In Mexico and parts of Latin America, it intertwines with El Día de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. From October 31st through November 2nd, homes glow with marigolds and candlelight. Families build vibrant ofrendas, or altars, adorned with photos, favorite foods, and little treasures of those they love. The air fills with laughter, color, and song, a joyous celebration of memory and the assurance that those who have died still walk with us in faith and spirit. Elsewhere, from Poland to the Philippines, from France to the American Southwest, people gather at gravesides with flowers and prayers, honoring generations past. At its heart, All Souls' Day is about connection to history and loved ones. It reminds us that death does not sever love, it transforms it. That the prayers we whisper, the candles we light, the memories we share, all become part of a great communion that links heaven and earth. Christian believer with our Father. So, as November's chill settles in, and the leaves fall like gentle reminders of time's passing, All Souls Day invites us to pause, to remember the faithful departed, to give thanks for the lives that shaped ours, and to trust that, one day, we'll be remembered in the same tender way.
This has been a Preservation Oaks historical moment, honoring those who came before us and the living memory we carry forward. Until next time, we invite you to take a quiet walk through your local cemetery every All Souls Day. Say a prayer, tidy a loved one's resting place, and remember, remembrance is the bridge between yesterday and eternity.
Holy cats, people. I'm really thrilled with meeting Heather and Creede. What an incredible journey underground we've shared today. Our guest, Ms. Heather Brophy, director of the Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center in beautiful Creede, Colorado, is one of those rare individuals who embodies heart, history, and hope all at once. Heather is a sincerely dedicated, intelligent, and deeply capable leader, a woman driven by both passion and purpose. Her work honors the rugged miners who carved this town out of the canyon walls and the generations who've kept its spirit alive ever since. It's been a genuine privilege having her on Preservation Oaks. If you listened closely today, you heard more than facts. You heard Creede Colorado's heartbeat. Heather walked us through stories that could only come from someone who knows the mountain personally. The miners who used dynamite so powerful it rattled windows downtown. The local legend of Christy Brent, who learned firsthand why you cover your ears before a blast. And of course, the proud, enduring humor of those early miners, the same spirit that still echoes through the tunnels today. We learned that Creede isn't just another mountain town. It's the only incorporated town in Mineral County, surrounded by towering canyon walls that are quite literally part of an ancient supervolcano. Visitors don't just step into history, they step into the volcano itself. The museum and community center together form a place like no other. 10,000 square feet of cool, comfortable space carved from solid rock, where the temperature holds a steady 50 degrees. It's a perfect venue for weddings, reunions, dinners, and community gatherings, a place where education meets celebration in the heart of the Colorado mountains. Heather reminded us that what makes Creede truly special isn't just its geology, it's its people. A place where everyone wears multiple hats, where neighbors show up when tragedy strikes, and where unity isn't a slogan, it's a way of life. The Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center hosts an astonishing variety of events all year long. From the Rock and Mineral Show, cave yoga, and winter writers' workshops, to the community's Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners, bingo nights, and craft fairs. They partner with local organizations like the Elks Lodge and the Ladies' Aid Society, creating not just events, but belonging. This is a place where you might come for a geology talk, a wedding, or a burger basket on the 4th of July and leave with a sense of being part of something timeless. Heather and her team are tirelessly working to keep this underground marvel safe, strong, and sustainable for generations to come. That means replacing exhibit dummies and clothing affected by underground humidity, installing a new LED lighting system, reinforcing the mountain's natural drainage with a new awning water mitigation project, and shoring up the mountain itself through erosion control and ground stabilization. Let's be honest, managing water and rock at 8,852 feet inside a volcano is no small feat. It's ongoing, meticulous work, and we at Preservation Oaks hope that Colorado's mining companies, past and present, hear this call and step up to offer engineering support, equipment, or funding to help Heather continue this essential preservation effort. As part of the USA 250th and Colorado 150th anniversaries, the museum will unveil exciting new traveling exhibits in a collaboration with History Colorado. The Dry, Black Women's Legacy in a Farming Community, and STEM, Colorado's original science, technology, engineering, and math exhibit. Creede will also spotlight the women of the Upper Rio Grande River Valley, the innovators, entrepreneurs, and community builders who electrified the town and built its institutions. These exhibits will link Creede's rugged mining past with a visionary look at the future, and that's exactly what historical preservation should do. Where else can you hold an event inside a mountain that's millions of years old and feel completely comfortable doing it? It's as if they took Tolkien's Mordor Mountain and turned it into a place of wonder, education, and joy. So to all our listeners across Colorado and beyond, please consider booking your next event at the Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center. It's cool in the summer, cozy in the winter, and unforgettable year-round. You'll be supporting an extraordinary team that gives back every single day. This museum survives and thrives because of community support, people like you. If you'd like to contribute to their ongoing projects or become part of their Hall of Donors program, reach out today. You can visit them at number 9 USFS Road 503, Creede, Colorado 81130. You can write them at P.O. Box 422, and I hope you send a check to that address. You can phone them at 719-658-0811. On the web, you can find them at undergroundminingmuseum.com. You can email them at miningmuseum@mincocolo, that's mincocolo.com. And on Facebook, you can find them at the Creede Underground Mining Museum. Every dollar, every volunteer hour, every shared post helps Heather and her volunteers keep this underground treasure alive. You know, Heather Brophy is one of those shining lights in preservation, someone who doesn't just talk about heritage, but works with the community to live it day in and day out. Deep inside the mountain that made Creede famous, she reminds us that remembrance isn't passive, it's active stewardship. So here's to Heather, her crew, and the entire Creede community for showing all of us how grit, grace, and gratitude can turn a volcanic cavern into a cathedral of memory, community service, and pride. Hey, and don't forget the Underground Community Center is also available for rentals, meetings, weddings, reunions, parties, and more. Just call 719-658-0811 or email them at miningmuseum@mincocolo.com. So whether you're planning a visit, a special event, or just want to support their mission, the Creede Underground Mining Museum is ready to welcome you. If questions occur to you and you'd like more information, please connect with them via the contact information provided. I hope this information helps the audience understand how valuable they are to their community and what kinds of excellent services they have to offer to their members and to the public. The Creede Underground Mining Museum and Community Center is truly one of our nation's preservation oaks. All right, that's a wrap for this episode. Music used today is from Cymbalbird, Air Family, Score Wizards, Premium Beat, Rems Tunes, Akash Gandhi, and Scott Holmes. Hey, this is Sean Radcliff. See you all next time on Preservation Oaks. And until then, keep on giving and keep on living the good life.
Microstream Radio is a registered trademark. You can visit at www.microstreamradio.com. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted by Microstream Radio. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, reproduced, copied, or used anywhere without the written permission of Microstream Radio. Preservation Oaks starring Sean Radcliff originates in Salt Lake City, Utah. Be sure to join us for our next episode on your favorite podcast platform. This is Sarah Suarez speaking. Preservation Oaks has come to you through the worldwide podcast platform Podbean, and our home is preservationoaks.podbean.com. Hopefully you found today's episode useful, informative, and thought-provoking. If so, please like, follow, comment, and/or subscribe. Remember that being free means being free to be curious, and that historical and genealogical societies and museums allow us to discover the past, be free to explore, where curiosity opens every door. Thanks to everyone for listening. Stay cozy, curious, and keep exploring the incredible stories that shape our world. Remember to cherish and support the preservation of history in your own communities. The content of this program is provided for educational and informational purposes only. Some material included in this program may be copyrighted by third parties. However, under Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act, the doctrine of fair use allows the limited use of copyrighted material without requiring permission from the rights holders when used for purposes such as education, criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. These uses are legally permitted even if they might otherwise constitute infringement. If you wish to use copyrighted material from this program for purposes beyond fair use, you must obtain permission from the copyright owner. If you believe your copyrighted material has been used in this program in a way that does not qualify as fair use, please contact us at preservationoaks@gmail.com. Thank you.